So we're ready. We're so delighted to have you, everyone here on behalf of the Knowledge and Credential Group of the ICF Saudi Arabia. We would like to introduce you today to Dr. Claire Beckett McConnery and her workshop for today, Mentor Coaching and Supervision Accreditation and Demos. Dr. Claire is a triple award winning executive and board coach. She's the founder of Beckett McConnery Group and Coach Me, co-founder of ICF Bahrain and ICF Qatar, an advisory committee member for supervision and mentor coaching for the ICF Global. She leads a highly experienced global faculty of 16 MCC coaches and 8 PCCs, delivering ICF levels at 1, 2, and 3 CCs and AATC, excuse me for the small letter, they should be in capital, and for ACTC, who includes supervisors, trainers, and facilitators. Her flagship Leader as Coach program, which has been running for over a decade, has more than 1,000 graduates. She will also soon be delivering ICF's advanced accreditations in mentor coaching and supervision. And we would like also to welcome Coach Samira Baba, who is an MCC and ACTC, ICF, PSM2, and PO Scrum Organization, Peer Reviewer, QM, ACC, ATF. Samira is a founder of Mubadara, which is a business consultancy and creator of the I Reflect tools. Over 27 years of experience in management, leadership, development, coaching, training, and organizational learning. Samira is a former president of ICF Bahrain chapter and former board member of Bahrain Society for Human Capital Development. She is the co-author with Dr. Claire Beckett for the book of Creative Reflective Practice. So before leaving you with Dr. Claire and her exciting webinar, workshop actually, just a gentle reminder for you, please, to keep your mics closed at all times. Unless Dr. Claire would like you to share something, you can open them freely. And then please put your questions in the chat. And don't forget to put your names on your screen or your window so we can give you your certificates at the end of the session. Thank you so much. And the platform is yours, Dr. Claire.
Thank you. Shukran Jazilan. Alam wasalam. Welcome, everybody. And so this evening, I'm saying evening because it's evening in Saudi Arabia. This evening, we're going to have two parts. We're going to have some mentor coaching, and then we're going to have some supervision. Now, there's a lot of knowledge share in the chapters. The chapters do a fantastic job, and myself and Samira really appreciate the work that Sohar and Waleed and the team do, because we've both been presidents and board members ourselves, and we know the time that's put into this. So shukran jazilan. Thank you very much for having us here. Now, the reason we chose this topic is because, there's been such a lot bubbling up with ICF around mentor coaching and supervision of late. I was supporting ICF way back in creating the mentor coaching and supervision competencies. And then they asked me over the last 6 months, it started October last year, to be on an advisory panel for where should we go with mentor coaching. And so in a nutshell, because we want this session to be experiential, in a nutshell, mentor coaching from January, a mentor coach has to be part of the mentor coach registry, a new registry. And the way they need to get onto that registry is to have the mentor coach specialization. And I've just put the acronym because people are calling it the acronym mentor coach specialization. And what you need for the mentor coach specialization is 41 hours of training mapped to mentor coaching competencies. Unless, just for the first round, unless you're an experienced mentor coach and you can prove that you've had 5 clients who have gained their ACC, PCC or MCC through working with you. And of course, ICF can verify that because people, when they're applying for their credential, have to put down the names of their mentor coaches. Okay, now there's one other step. So the mentor coach specialization is needed to join the register if you want to mentor coach. This step up from that, just like was done with team coaching, where the competencies came out and then the advanced accreditation came out, the advanced accreditation in mentor coaching is the Pierre de Resistance. That shows that you've had at least 60 hours of training mapped to the mentor coaching competencies, that you've had mentor coaching on your mentor coaching and supervision on you as a mentor coach. Okay. And we do programs in this. I'm not going to talk about that. However, if you do want to contact us, you're very welcome to do so. This isn't a sales pitch. We've been delivering mentor coach training for at least 7 years as a CCE program. And all of what I've just said, if you change the acronym to Coaching Supervision Specialization and Advanced Accreditation in Coaching Supervision, the same applies. The 41 hours to get the coaching supervision specialization and the 60 plus hours of training plus supervision on you as a supervisor and 2 sessions of you being supervised as yourself, then that gets you the advanced accreditation in coaching and supervision. We deliver those as well. We've been delivering those for years and they're triple accredited with AC and EMCC. And so because of all these changes and because now coming from the new year, people on a level 1 and level 2 program do not send recordings off to ICF. There is an overlap for those who have already started their programs. Okay. However, what this means is the role of a mentor coach has been upped. A mentor coach is working developmentally, generatively with their mentee, of course, over time. However, it's not about finding the 2 recordings that are brilliant to send off. I see this as a way to also even share with your mentor coach a recording that was okay, and it's not my best, and I don't think it will pass, and I want to share this one and get mentor coaching on that because I'll get even more learning out of it. So that can be done, which high five to ICF. I think that's fabulous. It's not just this, best 2 recordings. Okay, so that is the case for levels 1 and 2. For level 3, it is up until now. Although there is, it's not a rumour, it's a thing, they will be moving into looking again at level 3 for MCC. However, for now, level 3 will stay the same, where you send 2 recordings off. The role of a mentor coach for portfolio also means that the strengths and developments of the mentee mapped to the competencies and the minimum skills requirements is recorded over time. And we're supporting the people on our programs in knowing, understanding, and being able to apply not only the mentor coaching competencies, but also the way toward developmental summative and formative feedback, because that's what's required on these forms if you're a mentor coach and you're supporting people via the portfolio pathways. So there was one question in the chat about what are the changes. That is Zubda in a nutshell. That is the changes. I've also got a video there from our YouTube that goes through the changes again. It's actually a member of our community that did our level 3 program who is speaking most of the time on that session because he offered to support us in delivering it. And so that will support you as well. Reach out if you've got any more questions. I'm not going to do Q&A. We may have time at the end. What we want to get to is thanking Samira Baba, who is someone I've worked with for at least over 15 years. In fact, I think we were sisters in another life. So Samira's here, and also Nadine. Nadine has been on our level 2 program. And what's going to happen is Samira will be mentor coaching Nadine. And that's why you all received a recording that Nadine very kindly allowed us to share with everyone, and she's laughing there. And of course, we got the permission of Emma, who was the person being coached by Nadine. So Samira is mentor coaching Nadine, and then and this is live on the session, never been done before, and I will be, and especially on this recording, and I will be then mentor coaching and supervising Samira on her as a mentor coach, because that is something we've been doing for a long time with each other as a faculty, but it's also what ICF are wanting for the development of the profession of mentor coaching, and it has to be done for the advanced accreditation in mentor coaching. So now you see our rationale. I hope it makes sense. And so, maybe everyone apart from Samira and Nadine go off camera, and I will. Oh, they've been spotlighted already. Shall we pin you as well? Would that be useful? There we go. And over to you, Samira and Nadine.
Hello, Nadine.
Hello, Samira.
How are you? Nice seeing you again.
Yes, very nice. I'm good. Thank you.
So, thanks to the ICF KSA chapter for this opportunity, and thank you, Nadine, for giving me this opportunity to go through the recording and maybe share some insights together in this space. So we'll have something around, let's say, 20 to 30 minutes, according to what's needed. Usually, you're well aware, and then the mentoring session will go up to 1 hour, maybe sometimes. Right?
Yes.
So how do you want us to tackle this? I mean, we can go through specific competencies that you're interested in. We can look at it holistically on strengths and development overall. Or we can go competency by competency, as much as the time allows. What would you prefer?
Yeah, I think as I'm still learning competency by competency, it might be good to just go through it all.
Okay. So overall, Nadine, tell me a little bit about your coaching style. What's your preferred style?
Okay, so I started coaching officially with Claire in September and did the several courses. And since then have been training and learning very intense. Before, I did lots of coaching and mentoring through my work and role, and also personally, just because I guess this is a bit runs in your veins or not, if you like to support people. So I'm currently, collecting the hours to then do the ICF test.
And as I knew, this is going towards the PCC accreditation, right?
Yes.
Credential, sorry, the credential. So, and again, I'm being honest here, because of the PCC markers, I was like, shall I look at PCC markers 2025 update, or shall I look at it from 2019, because that's where you're being assessed now? So I might give it a holistic view between both of them. Is that all right?
Yes, that's fine. I also, to let you know, right, I'm not really wanting to become a professional coach. I do this just more for fun as a side job. So I'm not into all the details of the competencies and everything other than just what we learned. So I try to have my script, and I had one session with Claire where I received feedback. I tried to incorporate that. but it's really hard for me to follow those competencies step by step.
I mean, Nadine, if and you have the right mindset. If there is no love for coaching, then forget about the competencies, forget about the credential. Like, this is a profession of love, right? That's my take. Now, how do you like to receive the feedback, Nadine?
Just very direct and straightforward.
Okay. All right. I know Emma for a very long time. I love her. She's more than a colleague. She was in Bahrain. So I know her style of both coach and client. And it was so nice to see that session and see her again. Yeah, God bless her. So have you been, I mean, did you watch the session yourself?
No, I never watch myself
Well, and why is that?
because I don't like to see me on camera.
Okay. How about listening? If that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, if we do it here, I'll fine, but I would not do it myself.
Okay. All right. No worries. So if you recall the session, just take a minute. So say, hey, these are the things that I've done well. Forget about the competencies. So overall, what would those things be?
I think what I tried and worked out was incorporate Claire's feedback from the first recording and focus more on the beginning, and trying to define a goal for the session and a real outcome, because that's where I tend to brush over, especially with people I've been working longer now together, because you know the things and you kind of, yeah, get quicker to the point. What didn't work so well was that, in my view, and I didn't even wanted to submit it because I was like, that was so bad. I don't want to do this. But then the time was pressing. I was like, yeah, let's learn more out of this. Emma was not feeling great and was overly cheery. So it was, and she's a very cheerful person, as you know yourself, right? So if someone is constantly smiling, it's hard to see the shifts in the mood. So that was hard for me compared to my first recording to see that and then also talk about that and reflect that with her. And as she goes from A to B to C to D, it was hard to really focus on the agreed outcome. And we went a bit left, right, and center.
Well, I wish I heard the first session as well, so to see that shift. But for me, in this session, which is competency 3, around the agreement, if that's where we are starting, it's met and it was checked in a couple of times in the session. After today's session, you, Nadine, because I do have you on WhatsApp as well, I'll share with you a feedback form which says which competency is met with the timestamp in the session. So you can go back and build on that strength. So the session goal was articulated. Yes, this is what we want. There was a check-in a couple of times in the session, like, are we still in the same goal? Are we still moving towards that? Which is actually a good level of awareness from the coach. Yeah. Why this goal is important. It was there. So we look at it from competency 3.2 and the marker, I mean, yeah. What needs to be, I mean, this is a very difficult competency that you actually demonstrated in the session. 3.4 is the coach checking with the client on what needs to be done, in other words, in the session, or what can be hindering the session. And that question was clearly stated. And now, what do we need to do in order to achieve that? It was around 2 times, minute 4.42 and 7.53. But I don't want to get into the details. You received the report. But that's well done. When we have, yeah, you're welcome. When we look at the markers, if the session goal, marker 3.1, is met, then we have several markers that we can assess. If the goal is not there, then, there are several markers we cannot assess. So good job in that. Right?
Thank you.
will it be okay if I share a couple of examples to even, I understand ICF wants us to always give feedback on the level of the coach. For you, you met the PCC. In certain moments, I found opportunity to, with small nudges, to even take it higher. Will it be okay if I share a few examples?
Yes, please.
Yeah. And those are examples. They are not the best practices, one of million, right? And for example, how is this goal related to the overall coaching journey that we had? Because you did mention that this is one of our several sessions. Maybe. How is this goal related to your values that you mentioned in session 2? Yeah. This is just exploring the bigger picture. How is this landing?
Yeah, this for sure is something to take on as we not have a constant routine in coaching. And sometimes it's me coaching her more often, or she coaches me more often. So it's not that and it's not a regular thing. So you tend to forget. I mean, it's a same topic, let's put it like this overall, what we of course have for several sessions. But it's rarely that we go deeply into that. Of course, we refer to sessions before, but not, for sure, not on a rating scale. No.
Yeah. And I'm glad the ICF will remove and give the mentoring to the school to do that, because we kind of like get the style of the coach over time, and we understand the history. But for the assessor, they will only listen to that part, and they don't know the history behind it. Right? What I also liked, how focused you were, throughout the session on what Emma is actually doing. What have you been doing? Where is this coming from? So we're looking at, when we assess the session, we assess the behavior of the coach, not the client, but the behavior of the coach reflects on the client. So the level that Emma was sharing and laughing and comforting and easing the session shows that there is a good chemistry, good level of trust between you.
Yeah, I think that's true. We are very alike also personality-wise, even if we never have met so far in person, but there's lots of things we have in common, and I think that helps.
Yeah. And I also think competency 8 was quite solid, which is building the accountability. How will you be accountable? What actions you'll take? And what did you learn? What did you learn from the session about yourself? Although Emma reflected back about the topic, but still, and that was non-attachment showing, can also be better, like, okay, which action you're gonna do on which day? Kind of like to make sure that that's happening. Especially when Emma said something. In the session, she said, I work best with deadlines. Yeah. And you see, I know Emma since maybe 2016 or 17 or 18, but still we get connected, right? So when Emma asked you, when the client asked you, I want you to be my accountability buddy. Yeah. I'm not being exaggerated. It's nice. It shows support of the coach when they say, yes, okay, I can be accountable. But in what ways we can make sure that when we are not in their life, how can they build accountability themselves?
Yeah, I think it's especially with the topic, it's a very, let's say, basic topic on one hand, but then on the other hand, she's struggling with it. And she tried several things. And we always also try to attach some accountability to it. And she often asks me to check in with her which I do, but then not much comes back. And then it's a bit like, how pushy shall I be or not, right? This is then, even if we contracted around it, that it's okay to be more pushy, but I think the best way so far is that we continue doing it in the sessions. And then also started it together, because this just checking in so far didn't work via WhatsApp or the next session. And I guess it's part of your personality, right? If you want deadlines but then miss them, that can also easily lead you into more feeling this is a failure and then stopping you more of this. So therefore, so far, I sent the message whenever she wants after the 3 days or on Friday or whenever. But then I'm not pushing more, and then I just pick it up in the next session and see what happened or didn't happen. And then we continue from there.
Yeah, I understand, because you know her and you know the style that's working with her. All right. For the sake of time, Nadine, is it okay to go deeper into areas that you benefit more?
Yes,
Now,
please.
in this session, there is one main concern that I had, but it was kind of like faded or came out towards the end. Remember, the assessor is only listening to this part. And when the client several times, almost 5 times in the session, started with my risk. This is my risk. It's swollen, the water. I mean, it's hurting me. And towards the end, she said, oh, I need to do my physiotherapist. It will be fine if the coach took a stand in the start or the second time mentioned in just checking in. Are you getting professional help on that? I know you know, but the assessor doesn't know.
Yeah, sure.
If even my client said, you know what, I'm not sleeping for the past 3-4 days. Oh, my hip hurts and it's stopping me from doing things. And if they went and did exercises or put an action plan that will actually harm them, I just want to make sure and that they understand that the coach is also taking a stand saying, are you on track with your professional help in that? She said in the end, which balanced that out, but just an idea.
Yeah, thank you.
And then if it was a gift that I want to present it, then feel free to take it. Even I will focus on 2 main things: the questions and the pauses, the silence. Which one of them you want to look into first?
The questions. I knew there were several closed ones.
Yeah.
So curious to hear what you think about the questions. Yeah.
Now, if it's a permission question, it's expected to be closed. And you did it so many times, which is okay, because you take a marker of partnering, co-partnering with client. The coach is okay, not knowing what happened in the session. The coach is, co-leading the session with the client. And there are questions that has the space to go a little bit wider. Instead of, for example, will you add that? Will you check your to-do list and add that? Is that, will it be useful? Or in what ways your current practice of doing checklist will be useful here? If. So taking permission, if you continue the statement with, feel free to say yes or no. Will it be useful to explore something or experiment something or try something new? Feel free to say yes or no. So now you're giving the permission to the client to say, not now. Or yeah. And yeah, I know Emma, she went for it. Yeah. So how's this landing with you?
Yeah, makes sense.
We also look at, when I look at the session holistically, I close my eyes and start to just listen, any session. If the session goes question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, question, answer, it shows that the client has immediate answers for that, which is okay. Especially when you're coaching a coach, coaches are by nature are more reflective and coachable, right? The more the session goes question and a pause. Instead of, I already know about that, I've already thought about that, I know what's happening, which is okay, totally fine. Into, you know, I never thought about that. You know, let me think. Because we go back to the definition of the coaching, thought-provoking partnership. Yeah. Questions like, what we didn't discuss in today's session? What did you miss looking at? Questions like, you've spoke about this. What would be the next useful thing to talk about? So you're actually allowing the client to see what's happening and where they want to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
And then things like 30 years from now, when I'm talking to your students, how would they describe you as a professional? Also, you know that competency that changed or added, and the coach can share bits of knowledge. I mean, you're a coach, she's a coach, and she was talking about the ICF credential, right? They say, will it be useful to share something with you? You said about the credential. Who will be the best person to actually support you in the credential pathway? Right? Or I might be wrong, or this is just an insight. How are you doing in that mentoring? If you know that, if she's stuck in the mentoring or the assignments. So what you're trying to do is trying to allow the client to choose someone who's supported in that specific area, which is outside the coaching, because here she wants information maybe. I like the way you wrapped up the session with her. I mean, how do you want us to wrap up the session? And she kept a statement there. There is a trick I use to improve the pause part. Is when the client is actually sharing, after she stops talking, I might count 1, 2, 3, state the question in my head, and then say it. 3, sometimes 5. Depends. Some clients might not feel comfortable in the beginning with that, but some clients, they actually enjoy it. But it's up to you, your style of coaching. Then indeed, for the sake of this partnering in this mentoring session, what are you taking out of it as learning?
I mean, lots of. I'm curious to also receive your feedback via WhatsApp in more depth. But I think this referring back to other sessions, thinking about that more consciously.
Actually, that was good strength spotting here. When you mentioned about the vintage, was that the vintage? She called it something vintage, something fun.
Yeah, well, it's the app where she spends too much time, like we all do in shop stuff.
Okay. So that was actually a good point you brought in the beginning, and the vintage, because I heard you in other sessions. That shows that the coach is listening between sessions, and it's not only in that session. So yeah, thank you for bringing that. Also in the same line, strength spotting that I can see you that you like organizing, you like visualizing. How can you use this strength in this specific topic? For example, that's a strength spotting. So that's for us today? Do you think do you want us to talk about anything else, Nadine, in your mind?
No, thank you. It was really nice and really helpful.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks a
you.
lot, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Inshallah, we will meet again in other sessions.
Yes, hopefully.
Thanks, Jay.
Wonderful. Well, Nadine, we all, the whole call, thank you for the time that you've spent with us and the generosity, and also to Emma, who, of course, was allowing us to share her recording as well. And so with your permission, is it okay if I now feed back to Samira on her mental coaching, which means I may use your name just because I've just watched the session. So is that all right with you?
Sure, thank you. Yes.
Wonderful. So I will unpin you. There we go. And I'll pin myself. Okie doke. So Samira, you're on
Hello.
mute. There we are. What way do you need us to work together in this 20 minutes, half an hour mental coaching and supervision on mental coaching?
The usual way, Claire, conversational, exploring things, spotting what went well, what can be even better.
Experiential, bit of play maybe. Are you happy with
Why
that?
not? Of course,
Okay.
Clay is my middle name.
Well, I was thinking that's also, I know, one of your learning styles as well. And so in terms of contracting, we know this is being recorded, and I'm sure the recording will go out there. So if there is anything later that you want removing, then let us know and we'll make sure that that happens before it goes out there. Anything else in terms of contracting?
No, you've covered it.
Okay. So for the feedback and for the generative conversation, because, well, I believe we learn better when we're not just told, we're actually working together. You know, and we're both professionals, and of course, doing this work, we learn as well when we're mentoring other mentors. So for the feedback, how should we deal with the content?
Content of the mentor's feedback to the client, to the
Yeah,
mentee.
my feedback to you.
Yeah, go with it, Claire, as usual. Normal conversation. I mean, we can start with style and approach, because our reflection, we can start with a reflection on what was going on here for that to show up.
Okay, so with that, what were you experiencing when you were mentoring? Bearing in mind that it was an observed session, so that gives it an extra complexity.
Of course, of course. So if it's what happens usually in my mentoring engagement, people approach me and we have that exploring conversation before, and then I look at initial, I usually tell them, send me any recording. Your first recording will be fine to see where they stand or their current recording. Then I might listen to it 3 times. Yeah. These are for what I'm talking about, the AACS, PCC level. For MCC, it takes a little bit more work around it. It might take 4 times of listening, different timings. For this specific session, I've listened to it twice. And with that, I also received kind of like an overview on the process, right? So that gave me an extra, what do I say? Is it a filter? Because I've never mentored Nadine before. So that was one of them. And because I don't know the style of the mentoring Nadine will want, I was quite I would say what's the word for that? And then you don't want to cross a line.
Like slightly cautious?
Yeah, that's why I asked Nadine, and now how do you want me to take that? Because sometimes what we do for certain mentees, you will go step by step in every competency. And if it's over time, خلاص, they are used to what they want. They will say, today we'll focus on competency 4 because that's what we are working on.
Yeah.
But here, because it's a 20-minute session and it's the first time and it is observed, I was kind of like, shall I give it holistically? Shall I take it part by part? And am I using a 2019 markers? Am I using the updated one? So that was there in my mind.
And on that point, the fact that you're mentioning, 2019 or the updated, the fact that you're checking in where's she at in her credentialing journey, all of that gets confidence in the mentee and your relationship because it's clear that you know your stuff. So, well, I know you know your stuff, and getting that across to them, that supports the relationship, but it also supports them to absorb, I believe, that, what we're imparting as well.
Yeah. Claire, when the mentoring competencies came out and the bias document came out and the training came out, so I went through it because, we have a couple of people here in this session who I mentored as well. And my style is actually, I help people to jump 2 meters while they want to jump 1 meter. That was my style throughout the years. Regardless of who's graduating, we always use PCC markers at level 2 anyway, as base. And now the competency of the mentor says, oh, you need to coach at the level. So I look at it at the level, but I don't know why I have a tendency to give those nudges and with this little tweak, you might be coaching at PCC or maybe MCC level. But I'm also curious to see how ICF looks at it. I do understand and I do not exaggerate so people don't feel challenged, right? And it's also maybe my personal tendency to let people jump the 2 meters if they're really close at that level.
Yeah. I think that also goes with your personality because you're so into learning and development and growth. And my goodness, as a lifelong learner, you never stop. So that's really present as well. I was also thinking for the contracting and for the way that this was set up, which is pretty unique, we know that, compared to the way you normally prepare your mentees, even post-session. What was different there?
Well, if I'm doing it as my business as usual, so we meet, because, Claire is quite interesting. When I have mentees sometimes from other schools, they are not trained a lot on the other areas. So sometimes when we show them the PCC markers document, they go, I never seen that, for example.
Yeah.
So I do that awareness, kind of like a training session in the beginning. This is how I assess you. This is the form that I'll use. This is the mechanism. This is how I listen to the sessions. I listen to it 3 times. That's why when we book, and if you send me a recording today, we might take a week for us to have. So that's a kind of a 1-hour session just for the contracting, some materials, some demo sessions are sent to the client, different schools. I don't even send mine, by the way. I do send different styles and I tell them, come up with your style. Well, I'm not assessing a style here. But because this was, there is no that level of contracting. So here I took a step to be safe because I want to see what will comfort or what will benefit the mentee instead of imposing the style.
And that's there in the competencies of a mentor coach as well. And I know that you also encourage your mentees to listen to the recording near the time of the session, the mentoring session, so it's fresh in their mind. So that goes without saying. But the other things that were evident in this session were things like encouraging her to share her insights and not just telling. And also sharing the amount of time, because when people are clear of how long they got together, they've got nothing to worry about. They can keep an eye on the time. And if they've got something really pressing they want to bring into it, then of course they can manage the time as well. And we give them agency to bring that forward. The other thing is, how do you want us to tackle this? So it wasn't a power relation where you're telling, it really was partnering in the approach as well. So all that was fantastic.
Good. Especially when coaches are under training, so they are inside, right? So here we try to see the level as, and I have to respect when when the mentee says, I don't like to listen to my recording. And to be honest, it's I
Who
personally also
does?
sometimes don't like to listen to my recording. I was listening to my own recording of 2015, and I was like, and it was a portfolio path, Claire. Remember when we did
Yeah,
at that
yeah.
point? I did the ACC PCC portfolio. When I listened to it, and I was like, "How did this pass?" Yeah. So I totally understand, and that's why I do encourage. We listen to our sessions, but if the mentee doesn't feel comfortable, I shouldn't pressure. No, oh, this is the best practice. You have to do it. That's it.
So one thing I do sometimes there is if it's someone we know who doesn't want to even, some people don't like listening to their own voice. I want to know out there, I know you can do it on TikTok, you can change voices. However,
Oh,
I'm wondering, is there a program that would allow them to listen to it and maybe a female's voice is a male's voice? So they're not,
mm,
it's one step away. And if anyone knows that, put it in the chat because I'm still looking for that. Of course, then it would change tone and pitch. It may even change the length of silences. So, of course, there's that at play. But what I do encourage them to do is to at least read over the transcript before the
mm,
mentor coaching session. And so they don't have to listen. Sometimes even things pop out. The amount of times that the coach has said something stands out even more when they read the transcript comparing to listening. So there's
true.
one thing that can help.
And with the technology now, oh my God, I remember paying like $2 per minute for transcript at those days. And now it's so easy. And as long as you trust that the platform and you have for example, we don't want to promote platform. I wouldn't use ChatGPT to do that,
Yeah,
to upload a recording or do that. But a trusted platform that and that will not be published outside, such as the one we use, it gives us quite good, neat transcript. I mean, in
yeah,
that ability, it's a very good one. And for me, the transcript is also good for timestamps
yeah,
because I can get the timestamps well. And it also gives us the ratio. I mean, for this specific session, the ratio of talking between the coach and client was quite good. I think less than 30% for the coach, and the client was doing good talking there. Again, there is also one element, Claire. If it's a real client that I'm mentoring, I do in the contracting tell them, I do want to see you coaching non-coaches.
yes,
Yeah. In that case, because coaches are by nature, because I love them. By nature, they are reflectors. I mean, most of them, especially the trained, and they're applying for their higher credentials. So that's a general statement. But I yet need to meet a coach that at that level who's not reflective. So they try to help the coach as well in the way they express
mhm,
without knowing, with intention. So they will ask question themselves and they will answer it themselves. And that's why it will be interesting to see the coach coaching a non-client. So sometimes when I hear the coach is submitting a session with a coach, and it's not for the purpose of demonstration, like this one, I do tell them I need another, or at least another. If you don't have a client, I can bring someone who's not a coach and try to show it there.
Yeah. And also, quite often, if someone's a coach, they're coaching themselves in the session. So the coach, the coach can't be at their best because the other person, who's the client, who's the coach, starts
Exactly,
doing
but
their own work.
if the client is actually expressing very good insights, like existential insights. So my first question will be, is that insight because of what the coach did?
Yeah.
Is it a silent? Is it a pause? Is it an inquiry? Is it a question? Is it statement? Is it an observation that the client came? Or was the client just talking about, okay, so what's important here? This is important. And you know what? This made me think about that. And that made me think about that. And and the coaching is happening there. But it wasn't because of the insight of the coach.
Yes. Yeah.
So this,
Interesting.
why I'm bringing this, because this specific session was coach and coach. And for me, I had in my mind, I need to explore whether this is Emma's doing a lot of work, which the client will do at that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're talking there also about modalities, I was thinking myself, because she's going for PCC, we can even mention things like, so it appears that the client wants a solution-focused approach. And of course, there's strengths in that. It's what they want, but sometimes what the client wants and what the client needs can be two different things. And I bet you agree, when listening to Emma on the recording, Emma talks a lot about different things. She talks quite fast. And so when I was listening back, I was also thinking, I'm wondering what going more somatic into her body, or I'm wondering what even more spaciousness, or I'm wondering the link between this and life purpose, so more existential, would bring in terms of competency 7, evoking awareness.
True. True. And there were so many moments there, like, what's this like being in a different country now? What's that layer coming up? So you're looking at the systemic perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What's this like? If your mom is listening to this session, what do you think is her insights? Because she's with mom, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so you have the dog there. I mean, what's the impact of having your dog with you now? So you're also, how I look at sessions sometimes, Claire. I see how much of the session the coach is asking questions that if I remove this client, it makes no sense to another client. Okay?
Yeah.
And while I'm listening to that session, can I identify this coach is coming from which school? Because as they grow in their muscles, they are very fluid in their approach. You cannot pinpoint a specific structure they are using. It's like very agile, right? And to be honest, in this specific session, I was okay with that because it was structured. We have a goal, we have the reality, where's the check-in, and then a way forward, which was a structured. That's the general rule for all coaches. But I couldn't, for example, look at it from, is it solution focus or is it coach me even?
Yeah.
Now, there was a point in this specific session that I had kind of a question mark. I didn't bring it up because maybe it's not the space. It was about where is this coming from? So, where is this coming from? But the client, good, yani Emma didn't take that route. It can go into the historical part, and how much of the session was talking about past and present, and how much is present and future. So thankfully, and it didn't go into like a therapeutical mood.
Yeah.
Few
And
nudges
so,
here and there leading, but still, I can see it balanced out.
yeah, and that awareness for the coach that it's okay to go psychodynamic and what are the first experiences of this, or what's it really about? Where's it from? Like you said, as long as they bounce back into the moment in the here and now. And what's your awareness now you've reflected on that?
Mm.
So around that, because clearly it's the topic keeps bouncing up throughout the session around the, if I label it as organization, and maybe procrastination. What other way could you have enabled Nadine to get to the core with her
Role
client?
play, maybe.
Mm,
Kind of like I wish we had time to role play. For example, I will bring the statement from the session where Anna said, okay, I tend to be a perfectionist. And then the reflection, I didn't memorize it. It's there in the transcript, right? So I might say, okay, Nadine, I'm a perfectionist. Would you want to play kind of role play? Give me a question inquiring about the word perfectionist. Then give me a question inquiring about the thinking behind the word perfectionist. Give me a question about how perfectionists show as a behavior. So the kind of like training the coach or kind of experimenting different ways of this specific, doing multiple things in that area. I see myself, for example, procrastinating, if that's one of the statements. So give me 5 different ways of tackling this statement.
brilliant.
Like what? For example, clean language. If it was kind of like, give me a, we had a couple of compound or stacking questions. I say, okay, this is a statement or questions. How can you reduce it in one question? Give me 3 versions of that question. So
Yeah.
this will be a very good exercise that I do in one-to-one sessions, where we experiment different ways of doing that. Instead of me giving examples, it's a chance for the coach to actually experiment. And sometimes I do tell them, give me a question of 3 words, 2
Yeah.
words, 1 word. Yeah.
I love it. And the evidence there, Professor Peter Hawkins has written about this, that of course in coaching, if they have a go in the session, they're more likely to do it out of the session. Now, I've not seen any research on that in mentor coaching. Let's hope there's more research in the future, but I bet it does apply by experimenting and then working with them on how to integrate the way they've asked the questions differently with their clients when they leave our session together, then that is more likely to have systemic impact on their clients as well.
Yeah.
Anything else that was coming up for you in terms of strengths and development areas?
In a normal session, yes, I would definitely go deeper.
Yeah.
I will take more time. Of course, if it's not observed, and I like Nadine is, I like her. I met her in one of the previous, I think in level 2, I did one of the sessions. Nadine was there. She's straightforward, like me. So we would have spent 1 hour of feedback on how's the more direct approach. But because of the setup, yes. But I will send her a detailed report later.
Yeah.
I hope it will be beneficial.
That said, you were mentioning, for example, 3.4 and it was at
I know.
4.24 minutes. So
Yeah.
I always think as well, balancing that between sometimes we need holistic and we do need the fine detail as well. The other thing I was thinking was maybe for certain questions before the playing together, we can even play it right there in the session. Play that, let them hear it in the here and now with their
Yeah, I wanted to
permission.
do it. In the background, I have the session there with the timestamps, but Nadine said she doesn't like to hear
I
herself.
know.
I didn't want
No.
to put her in that spot where she's hearing herself and observed, right?
Especially with an audience, yeah, absolutely. But in terms of 4.4 on the mentor coaching competencies. The partnering is fabulous. You did a lot of check-ins linked to the client development. How is this landing? So that was really good. The stretching her to take it to a different level. So also competency 4.5 was evident. And then the other thing I thought was really good was the suggestions of offering the extra material with the more detail for her to look at later. So that leads into also competencies 5 to explore other resources, other ways she can go even deeper into a development for this session and the things she's working on.
Thank you.
There was a lot that I loved because it really supports equity, diversity, inclusion. When you were asking her at the very start about her style, but also partnering throughout in terms of her preferred style of the way you two are working together and the feedback. So that was really strong as well.
Thank you, Claire. Yeah. Because I think we do have, sorry,
It's all right.
for the past, what now, 15, 16 years, we do have a very diverse pool of our community in
Absolutely.
BMC and academic and Roy. So that teaches a lot and I personally find it very interesting. It's a stretch goal when I coach or mentor or supervise someone who's not from our culture. Or what I mean, for example, Bahrain or the place, it gives me another edge, another lens. So I really appreciate this opportunity, to be honest. Whenever I work with our learners, it's an eye-opening place.
And the way that the learners get together as well, even in different time zones, to mentor coach when they're on that program, or coach or supervise, and the cultural nuances that are a way that we all learn together. That I think that supports shared learning as well.
That's an area for me to always keep developing myself in it, to be honest. Here I need to understand, and the way we mentor in this area is quite different. Even the level, so it's the diversity part is the age, level, gender, background, where are they coming from, which school they're coming from. I have to be mindful a lot. If I compare this to my beginnings of mentoring, one school. I've been trained by 2 different schools, but only these 2 different schools. So that was the lens at that point. But today, when you see all that, it's all ongoing learning for me to see, oh, you see how they are coaching. Look at their style and appreciate it and learn from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And in terms of our session, what's the best way for us to end?
Thank you, with gratitude. I'm appreciative, of course, Claire, for your friendship and sisterhood that we have. And for Saudi chapter for hosting us, and for Nadine for giving us this opportunity, and for our dear Emma. Wish her all the best, and may she get well soon.
And thank you as well, Samira. It's brave and courageous for us to be vulnerable, especially in front of colleagues. So I feel that the way we have in our community, mentor coaches get together in a group to be supervised and mentor coached once a quarter, and people do share that they really value that. I think that more of that will happen, especially with ICF diving even deeper into the AAMC. The acronym's correct.
Give us the acronyms, Claire. Give us the acronyms.
Yeah, but more mentor coaching and supervision on mentor coaching, because who we are is how we mentor coach, learning about self and how people receive and give feedback alone is such an interesting area.
So true. I mean, when we started coach training, and I was a trainee in a coach training you, with Zakaria as well. So coach training makes us better coaches, to be honest. Yeah, I become better coachee at that point. Mentoring made me a better coach because now I understand how behaviors show up in the session. I mean, supervision just make us better humans because now you have really you really live that even in your normal life, day-to-day life. So
Yeah.
thanks, Claire.
Pleasure, and thank you.
Thank you.
And so, where we're going to go next is to just have a very quick bio break, 4 minutes. How about that? And then we'll come back. We finish the mentoring bit, and then we're going to dive into inviting 3 or 4 of you to be supervised as a group by myself and Samira together. So it'll be co-supervision, myself and Samira supervising 3 or 4 of you as a group in a fishbowl with the others observing. So while you go and grab your water for this little break, have a think. Are you the one who really wants to dive into supervision with us today? So see you in a couple of minutes.
Thank you so much, Claire. Thank you, Samira. Thank you, everyone. So it's 8:40 now. We'll be back in 8:44.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. So this is the point where we ask for 3 or 4 of you to be with myself and Samira and be supervised. So for those of you who are not familiar with supervision, mentor coaching is developmental work mapped to the core competencies and PCC markers and bars, but also moving into the oh, the word's gone. It's gone.
ACC bars and the competencies and the ethics and the
Thank
credential
you.
exam,
Yeah, and
application,
minimum skills, that's what I was thinking
minimum
of.
skills. Yeah.
It's late in the day here in the UK, forgive me. So mentor coaching is about where they are, where they need to be, and working with them together to get there. Supervision, on the other hand, there can be overlaps, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but supervision is a way for a coach to resource, get more resources, models, tools, techniques to support them in their work. Restore. I've had a tricky session, or contracting with this organization's a nightmare. Benchmark and recalibrate. How is my work compared to colleagues? And also the business side of it, pricing, pitching, promoting. So that's supervision. Now, sometimes there can be an overlap in the middle where, for example, a coach needs to step into fierce courage and be braver with their clients. And so the competency of presence is relevant, so it can be a mentor coaching topic. Ethics may be there as well. However, on the supervision side, it may go to something like, and what way does bravery show up in different parts of your life? Because there may be an underlying sort of issue or topic that is about them as a human being in our world. And that might be what's getting in the way of them stepping into bravery in service of their clients. Okay, so for this session, whether someone's got a client, a topic, something that happens over a number of clients in your work, it may be something that's going well, it may be past clients, even future clients, something that's not going well, a contractual or ethical issue, they're all the things that you can bring to supervision. So who would like to be supervised? Soha, I see your hand up. Are you volunteering?
No, actually, I have a question, Claire.
Sure.
Now, the demo that we have seen between you and Samira, I feel this is more of a supervision, correct? It's overlapping with mentoring.
So I would say that the work myself and Samira did, I'd say, in fact, do this, Samira. What percentage do you feel was mentor coaching you? Write it in the chat, but don't press send. And what percentage was supervision? And then when we've both written that, we'll see how aligned we are. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
5, 15.
I didn't know you wanted percentage. Yes, it was overlap between mentoring and supervision.
Yeah. So I'd say that was way more mentoring. And if you look at the mentor coaching competencies, the head, I mean, I've got slides here I can share. We won't go through them, but happy to share them with everyone later. It was in case I had them as a backup in case we needed them for specific competencies. We also have a model that's in Arabic, English, and over 60 languages, including Klingon. And we use that for mentor coaching as well as mentor coaching on mentor coaching. So basically, for the mentor coaching, we're looking, and in my and Samira's session there, we're looking at skills. We're looking at the way that knowledge shows up. We're looking at the behavior, the way the relational system is. We also look at the wider system, the things like, did we know where the coach was working towards? And PCC, for example, there may be conversations around the field of coaching and ethics and so forth. We enable the person being mentored to reflect. We also look at where they are and ways they can move to be even stronger in their work, transition planning. And there wasn't time here, but we may also in transition planning look at what might get in the way of that. And what times do you default to, for example, giving the answers as opposed to having generative conversation, which I know isn't Samira's style. And then the action bit is actually what we talked about, fast forwards, playing with the content right there in the session. Then at the top, we believe in this work. Momentum, we work together to move things forward. And you saw us talk about celebration and praise. And so we as mentor coaches and mentor coaches need to celebrate together the small things and the big wins. Yay, my client got their MCC. But also celebrating with the coach when we're mentoring. So I'll share those slides, but basically as headings, models and promotes ethical practice, establishes and maintains agreements, manages the mentor coaching process from start to finish over sessions, group as well, of course, but also the process in the session, conducts formative appraisals, facilitates client skill development, and managing group as an extra dimension. So if anyone wants those slides, I can share those with you later. So the reason I said it was more 85% mentor coaching, we didn't go deep into the bit we touched on at the start. What were you experiencing when you were mentor coaching that client? That type of question tends to go more to a supervisory approach. Or if we go to, and Samira comes with something like, I'm not sure what to charge my mentees when I do this working group, then that is also more of a supervisory question as well. Or, oh gosh, and Nadine, if you're still on, I don't mean this. Oh gosh, that was really tricky because Nadine kept saying no, but, and Nadine doesn't feel that she's here and she's got this far to go. She feels she's PCC already, and she's laughing, and it's a real challenge with Nadine. What way can I work with her in a better way? And it might go to, how do you need to show up to be authentic and enable her to recognize her growth? So that's a supervisory style as well. I hope that helps, Soha. Okay,
Yes,
back
yes,
to now.
absolutely. Thank you. Thank you.
Pleasure. Back to now, just conscious of time as well. Who would like to be supervised? And we can even both co-supervise one person if there's only one volunteer. And we do have a backup plan. Anyone like to be supervised? Okay, so our backup plan, I will supervise Samira.
Here we go. Oh,
Oh,
we
we
have
have Yusuf. Asha Bent Yusuf. Would you like to be supervised?
Hello, everybody. First,
Hi.
thank you for the excellent session. It was very beneficial. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Samira. It was really nice. And I would love to. Yes, my name is Ashwar. You
Wonderful.
can call me Ashwar. My name is Ashar in Arabic, but it's a little bit hard. So Ashwar is okay. I'm honored. Yes, I'm ready.
Shukran jazilan. Thank you
Thank you. Afwan. Thank you.
so much. And so it's myself and Samira supervising you. Asha, are you preferring to stay off camera, which is absolutely fine if that's your preference?
Yeah, it's my preference. Thank you
No
so
problem.
much.
So there's no point in pinning you. Okay.
Okay.
And so useful to know, have you had supervision before?
According to the ICF competencies, yes, but I'm still in the PCC in process. But for other accreditations, yes, definitely.
Okay. And for working with myself and Samira, it's us two together. Consider us as one. Okay.
Okay,
And with your permission, we may even talk together about where to go next. Is that
please,
okay?
yes. Yes, I'm all
It's
down for this. I'm ready, definitely.
fantastic. Anything else on contracting, Samira?
And Ashar, feel free if after the session you're thinking this shouldn't be published or in the recording, we can just cut it off from that space.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you for the offer. Thank you.
And if you need to recontract at any. So, Ashar,
Yes, please.
if you think of maybe the name of a film or the name of a book, what's the title for this topic you're bringing today? And what's the high-level blurb that goes under it?
May I ask, just checking, right now you're supervising me as a coach or as a coachee? Just to be clear.
So we can supervise you as a person. We can
Definitely.
also we can
Okay, I got it. Yeah,
the reason I say that is because sometimes people think coaching supervision. Well, actually, supervision, as you may know, comes from the medical profession.
definitely.
Occupational therapists supervise medical
Yeah,
teachers.
definitely.
So
Yes.
we can supervise you in your capacity, in your profession as a coach. And it may be that the topic you bring is also related to other hats that you wear.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, can you please repeat the question for me?
Sure. So
Thank you.
basically, what's your topic?
My topic, you said if there was a book, if I heard you correctly, it would be turtleism or turtleizing.
And if we were looking at the back of the book where it tells us, that little taste of what the
Yeah,
book's about before we buy it, what
yeah.
would that say?
Um, I think it will just give a sort of like a summary, sharing with the reader in order to maybe promote for the book itself that reaching the best way and the most or the fastest way and the most successful way to reach your goal is to reach it slowly, because it's a doctrine in my life.
And in this session today, what's most important for you to leave with?
Kind of standing out for myself in front of myself, specifically that like 26 years of counseling and coaching, that I was right by being slow. And like I focus on the word, Claire, slow, and not, too slow, because sometimes people misinterpret this. So it's a kind of, I don't know if it's a shout out or standing out in front of myself, telling myself, you were doing right, like in those years, that going slowly is one of the best ways to reach a goal. And maybe, not maybe, I'm gonna just take maybe away. Apparently, after this experience, it is the fastest way to reach a goal, to go slowly.
And so, with your permission, is it okay if me and Samira have a chat together?
I would love to. Yeah, please feel free. Thank
So
you.
we're going to have a chat together, and we might also together come up with some clarifying questions. And when we've done that, we then invite you to share what's come up for you as you've been listening to us talking.
Definitely be my guest. Sure. Thank you.
Okay, Claire. So interesting, turtling, and reaching fast to goals by being slow. So my inquiry is, in which area?
If Coach Samira is asking me here, the question is for me, right? Am I right? Or
So, if it's okay,
yeah,
I'm inviting you to just listen until we finish talking.
definitely. I got it.
It's a technique that's purposeful, because we
Yes.
may actually mention some abstract things, crazy things, concrete things, and then you choose where to go after I'll share.
Okay. So if I heard my name, I'm going to participate.
Oh,
I got it.
fantastic.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay. So we've got that, and I couldn't help but envisage a turtle.
Yeah. On the you know what I saw it on the cover, and even the abstract that you asked for in the back of the cover, it was actually written by the turtle. Interesting. That's how I imagined it.
And I'm wondering also if Ashar could speak as the turtle and share from the turtle's voice what wisdom, maybe even what connection with this topic would deepen her awareness. Because I often think as well, I mean, I'm thinking down the south of Bahrain in the little zoo there, and some of the tortoises, relatives of the turtle, and they're so big and they're 100 years old. So I often think of these animals having a lot of wisdom. I'm also conscious I'm speaking quite slowly with gaps while I'm thinking. So there seems to be a parallel process with our way just now on the topic.
Yeah. It's it's that, and of course, Claire, your famous experience with the tortoise that you smuggled. Right? It was fast forward environment. But
For
yeah,
another day.
yeah, for another day. Yeah. But coming back to Azhar's topic, 26 years of experience, and she did mention therapy, and was therapy or counseling and
And coaching.
coaching, and she's been trained now, and it's okay to be slow. My inquiry was, and this is just a question, like, has she ever felt pressured not to be slow?
Mm. And what makes her go fast,
Does she
if
want to go
anything?
fast? Yeah, interesting.
And
Hmm.
I'm also really curious, what does she need from us? And what does she need from this session
Yeah,
around this
definitely.
topic?
Yeah. Being slow about what? And is it, I want to confirm that this strategy is working, or something else?
And maybe it's just she wants to process this.
Maybe. Yeah.
And I'm curious about the impact of this on the way she shows up as a professional and the impact on her clients.
Mm. And what does slow actually means? Like slowly taking the training on a longer time, slowly dealing, having those hours, slowly getting the credential. Slow where?
And then the restorative side of supervision.
Mm.
What's the impact on slow on your physical, mental health, and the other parts of your life? Should we bring her back?
Yeah.
So, Ashha,
Yes, I'm all ears. I'm here. Yeah.
and so with all of that, what's come up for you? And then where do we need to go next?
Can you be more specific so I can give you a zubda, as you said at the beginning of the session?
So,
Okay.
from what you've heard,
Yeah,
is there anything you think, oh, I want to answer that question? Oh, I want to think about that more. You
definitely.
lead the next bit of your session.
Oh, thank you. First, I loved the conversation and the questions you both beautifully added to the whole concept that I highlighted today. And it was about turtling or turtleism. And to be honest, I am thinking to publish this book one day, but not right now. I noticed both your questions were really interesting, and I'll start from the end when Samira said, where you want to be slow, where actually a turtle or a tortoise, both, you can't ask them to rush anywhere. It's an instinct. It's in the built-in, so everywhere. And another smart question, yani mashallah, from both of you, I loved it. It was, where you rushed one day? Definitely, in all fields. And when we talk about 26 years of experience right now, we have been facing for the last 12 years a rush like globally, but I'm talking about something really older than this. I remember even when I was young in school, I was always rushed in order to give the homework, to come. Of course, I always did my best most of the time. I don't want to exaggerate, to be on time. Either it's like a homework, coming on time for a session with a teacher, or whatever was the activity. Coming before and preparation and coming before the time itself helped me to stay a turtle. And I raised all my kids, the big ones and small ones, that one of my, I'm going to say, best animals, like I don't want to say idol, I'm going to say an example from animals is turtle. Because I was touched first time, I was 7 years old when I read for the first time The Hare and the Tortoise. And I was like, who won at the end? Not the fast animal, the slowing down, thinking, taking steps, preparing person. And it happened that my nature, the way I talk, the way I speak, the way I walk, God created me, with a soul of a turtle. If I may also focus on a point Claire mentioned nicely at the beginning. You said, is it in talking? Because I don't know if, of course, from the beginning, the way you were talking was really with beautiful cadence. But the minute I mentioned turtleism, why did I feel that I reflected this on both of you? So the cadence even like appeared more. I don't know if it's what I felt maybe. And another thing, a question that I noticed I loved also, Samira said or asked, sorry, she said, what would make you go fast or like if I was rushed and yes, definitely. But I didn't change. This is what I'm trying to tell myself today. Because yes, I was always given beautiful advice, sometimes comments that we need to do things faster. And surprisingly, in a lot of projects, partnership, even in personal life, most of the time, I'm not going to say always, I'm a human being, but most of the time, yes, I was the person who's ready, under rain, in front of the door, waiting others to come. But the way I came to the place was really slow, trying to enjoy the moment. In a life full of rushing, starting from the last 9 years, maybe 12 years, I don't know, less or more, I felt I was like, oh my God, I'm blessed because I'm a turtle. Because when everybody started rushing with life, I cannot. So it's not like only a pro, it's actually, I'm happy that it's a nature in me.
And what's the impact on your clients and your work?
Now it's different because I have different niches. Like when we talk about coaching, it's different from as a therapist or as a counselor in different fields. But all in all, I do respect when the client, either a client or a coachee, want me to speed up a little bit. Like I do have this flexibility and I have to take in consideration the other, maybe perspective, the other pace. I can't be selfish, to focus on my pace only. But alhamdulillah, thanks God, like mostly, I can say 80% of my clients are so happy with the pace. And actually, I have some clients like from 12 years, they started applying turtleism and the everyday, let's say, life. And for turtleism specifically, it's for everybody who wants to follow this kind of, I don't know, doctrine or criteria, but especially for women, because slow motion gives us the chance to, feel ourselves that we're not rushed and we are in a safe zone. Yeah. A nice question. I love the question. Thank you, Claire.
So I can hear you. Building your strength on turtleism. So if we are to see in the end of the session, what will be something that you will take out of this strength that you have?
Hopefully, very deep question though, Samira. Very deep question. I need to, hopefully, sharing it with everybody else. So it's not only my nature and my perspective, and a perspective for like a small group or a group of people around me and in different society. I know a lot of people, they prefer the space, but you know, sometimes it can be practical. So sharing this with um, a beautiful group in a coaching community, yes. Um, it's nice when you share something you believed in and you applied for years. And if we go back at the beginnings, like 25, 26 years, it was criticized. And even before, because even I was, before, my background is a multilingual translator and an instant translator. So it was a challenge as well. I have to go with the pace of the person who's speaking with different, his pace, his pitch, the tone itself. So yeah, it's interesting that something that was criticized 30 years ago, not only in me, and it was also welcomed from other people. And when I remember, even there were supervisors for me when I started working. Uh, some of them, yes, they found this splendid. You know, they said, when you start talking and when you enter, we feel peace around. So it's not only about my character, it's the existence, the presence itself. When it's on a slow pace with preparation, cadence, and speech, it gives peace to the place. So, yeah, I told you it's a very nice, deep question that from being criticized sometimes, then standing for my own doctrine for 26 years now. After 26 years, yeah, I'm preaching for it. I don't know if God willing, if I publish this book. Thank you. Beautiful, deep question. Thank you, Samira.
And if I may add something, Azhar, and please take what's resonating with you from it. That's a personal take. I believe people come to the world with specific gifts. And it seems like this is your gift. There is a saying, دواءك فيك وما تبصر ودائك منك وما تشعر وتزعم أنك جرم صغير وفيك انطوى العالم الأكبر. Sometimes what it means, Claire, is we sometimes get into a place where we think that this specific thing is criticized, but it's actually a strength of someone. And it might be your gift to the world, Azhar. How's this landing with you?
It is beautifully, positively. And also, if I may add, from my personal point of view, as I mentioned, I wasn't always criticized. Some people found this good. Some people were very neutral about it. It's like, oh, it's your call, if you want to be slow, because some people are open-minded. So yeah, I believe it's a kind of maybe a gift, part of my mission. Maybe it's I will call it positively a comfort zone, because as a translator, I have a different meaning for the word, and I'm not gonna elaborate on this. But yeah, I think it's a gift God gave to me, and I think it's better for if we're talking about our body and nerve system, it's better. But of course, when we are always in a hurry, it's not healthy. But if I may say that some people don't like that, and I do respect totally this. That's why sometimes in certain partnerships or friendships, or sometimes working in projects, when the person has a very quick pace, I try to follow up, and I do have the capability for this. But at the same time, to be honest, I go back home and I slow down his ideas because I want to enjoy them again. So I do listen and focus quickly and take very quick notes. But if I want to enjoy what was the input for the person in any project, I let's say rewrite it or represent it again in a way that makes me enjoy exactly the point and the core. For me, speed burns cause of things, but I'm not generalizing, and it's everybody's choice, at the end of the day.
And we've got a little bit of time left, and I'm compelled to two things. One, I'm very curious about the world in general and this topic. That's one thing that's sort of lingering about for me. But the other thing is a different way of working with things can also be with images. So here we've got lots of different images. Right here and now, which image represents the way that you can use these skills, knowledge, and behaviors in service of your clients?
I'm just trying to zoom in. Definitely the bulbs, rope of lights. I love it. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. The turquoise picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Isn't that
love it.
interesting that that's there?
Yeah. See? It's coinciding with my topic.
And if you,
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's just that people will not believe that we didn't prepare this before.
Not
But
at all.
tortoise, I know it, but I'm just kidding. Like tortoise is waiting for me there. And plus a picture I loved so much. It has, I think, the beach or part of the sea from a balcony or something like that.
This one?
Yeah, and the baking or the baked stuff, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
And not this one, the other one, maybe. There's a balcony with, I think, only the side of the sea. It's next to the yellow or a big mask.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely, yeah.
Mm. And what's on the other side of that balcony?
I can see like a lot of families and even people individually enjoying their coffee, reading books by the seashore. I can see ice cream trucks and a lot of balloons around. And I can see special like knocks, if I can say that, or canopies for readers. I can feel the wind. Yeah. And I can feel the slow, useful, peaceful pace.
Slow, useful, peaceful pace. And as we bring our session to a close, if you speak as the turtle, in the turtle's voice, what way would the turtle sum up the learning from this short session and the way that you will integrate that into your work?
If it will be 2 sentences, the one I started with is the fastest way to reach a goal is going slowly. And the other sentence would be slowing down means leveling up. You will figure this out by a matter of time.
What's in this slowness right here and now?
Observation, learning, wisdom, and enjoying the moment in a very, very rushing world.
So just showing what's going on for me right now. The spaciousness, the silence, the stillness feels almost palpable, you know, like you can almost touch it and eat it and feel it. Hmm. And what way do we need to close our session?
With a word that I have it, on a post-it paper next to my laptop. And it was lovely that you mentioned, I think, two of them. Stillness is spacious. It's full of everything we need if we just slow down and focus. And I don't mind if anything was published. I don't want you to conduct anything or take anything from that session. And thank you so much, Claire and Samira and ICF Saudi chapter for the very beautiful opportunity. I appreciate it.
One. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All appreciation for both of you, Samira and Claire. Thank you.
Pleasure.
I don't want to
You
move
learned
on from the
something.
stillness. I just feel so relaxed right now.
I know.
So Samira, we
I
need to
wonder,
sort of shake that away.
yeah, it's kind of like interesting, right? It brings us back to the basics of slowing down. And I wonder how that energy impacts the clients and the system as our serves.
And I'm also thinking so much about coaching presence and less is more as we move up to MCC, in supervision, giving people to articulate what's going on for them and just reflect on what is working. Supervision
Sure.
doesn't have to be things that people bring that are problems that need fixing. It can be things that are going well that they want even more of.
Reflecting, yeah. Especially when you look at the coaching journey, for example, I know for therapy it's longer, but people don't rush. It's a journey. I tell them it's a journey. You don't need to just tick the boxes and get the credentials, especially when you look at MCC level. So that could be a gift that Azhar can actually benefit from it in that journey down the road, maybe. So taking things slow, but quality. So it's really, I notice people who take that time to do the work on themselves and reflect, they actually produce way much better outputs and results. So that could be a strength there.
And that thing of when people talk about silence in coaching, I always sort of giggle because there's so much in that silence. A silence isn't really silent. There can
Not
be
at all.
so much that people are thinking and experiencing. If we think now just briefly about the supervision competencies, I'm thinking in terms of, did we challenge? Did we support? I'm also thinking, did we step enough into the way of sharing what's going on for us, maybe sharing resources? How do you feel we did?
I think, from my perspective, I think in the supervisors recognized the need of that, and that there wasn't much of a benchmarking there, or more like what do we say, an assessment or a performance to be done. It was a space. We were holding the space for the thinking to happen.
Yeah,
And we were
process.
fine with that. Yeah, to process that thought. And we were fine with that specific idea. Although we did check what is the outcome and the scope were reflected there, but we were not attached to it.
And I wonder, my sort of, if I'm having supervision on my supervision, it would be what way could we together, the three of us, honed in even more on what's needed in the session, what her question is for that session. That's where I would have, in reflection, gone even longer on.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can
For
see,
the nature of this specific session, and looking at where the supervisor wanted to spend time to reflect loudly and to kind of confirm a belief,
yeah,
and no much challenge to push that belief away. So that actually, if this was needed, then this is the space for you to reflect on it.
absolutely. And I can see Soha.
Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I wanted everyone to take the survey, the feedback before they leave. It was an
Sure.
amazing session. Thank you so much. We can't thank you enough.
Pleasure. And we often do demonstrations, so keep in contact, follow our social media, and Dr. Ziad, please come along, reach out, and we can get you on one of those because it looked like you'd like some supervision as well. So we appreciate that because we all get to be there and learn together.
Yes, thank you. I have already taken down note of the link that you added to the chat. Thank you.
Fantastic. Look forward to seeing you.
Likewise.
So thank you for having us. Hope it's been useful. And thank you,
Very
Samira
useful.
and Nadine and Emma and gosh, it goes on and on.
I hate to say goodbye. I wish this can last forever. Thank you so much. It was really learning, growing, and it was amazing. Thank you so much. We got to know what is mentor coaching by practice. Well demonstrated. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Pleasure.
much. Pleasure. Have a lovely evening. See you soon. Take care.
Ma
Thank you.
salama.
Thank
Ma
you.
salama.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.